Now, looking at the next segment of careers, we're going to move into commerce for students who love numbers. Now, when you look at commerce from the perspective of numbers, here are a variety of career options that open up. Starting with actuarial sciences, moving on to chartered accountancy, to data analytics, to economics, to stockbroking. We're going to talk about each of these careers one by one. Let's look at the first career option next. Moving on to the first career with commerce for students who really love numbers. Now, I'm sure that all of us are aware of the impact and the importance of insurance. Now, every single insurance that you've ever bought was designed by an actuary. It's one of the toughest and the most longest courses available right now. Now, an actuary takes almost on average 10 years to complete the entire course. The entrance exam to that course is called ACET, and the provider of the course is the Institute of Actuaries India. Now, any student who loves numbers can go into a space like this. Actuaries are those who are able to quantify risk. Some of the chapters that could help a student understand these elements much early on in school itself could be chapters like probability. So if you have a student who loves probability, who loves numbers, and is wanting to take on a challenge like actuarial sciences, it's one of the few careers that we could clearly claim that it's one of the highest paid jobs in the world. Why is it one of the highest paid jobs in the world? Purely looking at demand and supply, we have less than 500 certified actuaries in India. Because it takes almost 10 years to complete, not a lot of people are able to complete that course. And if an actuary has designed a successful insurance policy, there's no telling how much of earning capacity that actuary could have. Apart from that, we've seen actuaries work in any place where you need a quantification of risk. Now let's look at the career portal to understand that pathway a little better.
We're now moving into careers that require numbers alongside commerce. While we understand that there is a combination in commerce where students are allowed to choose between taking mathematics as a subject, we have noticed that keeping maths as a subject alongside commerce or humanities just keep more doors or opportunities open for students. One such career that's really great for students who love numbers is actuary. Now, what do actuaries do? They are the ones who design insurance policies. They are the ones who calculate and quantify risk. So a student from any stream of subjects in 11th and 12th can take up mathematics. Now, actuarial science is typically a certification program which takes roughly about 10 years to complete. So it is a very long program. And there's only one institute, which is the Institute of Actuaries India, where you can complete the entire certification program. Now, students typically pursue the actuarial sciences program along with courses like bachelor's in arts in economics, a bachelor's in mathematics, or bachelor's in statistics, because there are certain subjects and chapters which are overlapping. Now, actuarial sciences is one of the highest paid jobs in the world, purely for two reasons. One is that we have less than 500 certified actuaries in the country. So it's really a demand and supply question where we have a lot of organizations that provide insurances, and we need people to be able to quantify risk for the types of insurance policies that are built. So even if you look at maybe a medical insurance, you would see that there are so many different factors to keep in mind while one evaluates the medical risk for an individual, and thereby the kind of premium that one pays for their medical insurance as well. So that premium depends on a person's age, their genetic history, the current medical conditions, the kind of city that they live in, their work, thereby understanding the work hazard. So there are so many different types of research that is required. So it is one of the highest paid jobs in the world, hence. At the entry level, you would join an organization while you complete your actuarial course, so that you are able to get more exposure and experience. However, once you're certified, the pay really increases a lot. So the future prospects are really high. So actuaries work in multiple industries. It is, of course, because it helps individuals quantify risk. Now, because this course is rather long, it's really important that students really like numbers, and some of the chapters that they would find commonly in actuary are chapters that they might have studied by the time they have been in class 10, which is chapters like probability. So the entire IAI program uh, through the ACET entrance test, which is actuarial common entrance test, is described here. And while it's a very lucrative career, it is also important that students understand their competencies. So while being conventional and enterprising are two common areas that are required, a strong love for numbers and numerical reasoning is also important. So the types of work activities that would be common to individuals who start off in this space would be calculating, computing, analyzing and interpreting data and information, which tends to be one of the most important roles in the actuarial space. So we have seen actuaries work in the stock exchange before an organization goes public. We have seen actuaries work in places where any place where you require to quantify risk. So whether you're working in insurance companies, even sports organizations hire actuaries to quantify risk for them. We've seen actuaries work in the stock exchange very heavily. In fact, we've seen actuaries work in any place where there is financial risk involved. So there is a wide scope of work wherever actuaries can work. And since it's a very long course to take, that is why it tends to be one of the better paid jobs across the world as well. So if you have a student who really loves mathematics and loves numbers and likes to work with calculations and analytics, actually is one such career that they could pursue.
Moving on to the next area called chartered accountancy. It's one of the most popular choices for commerce students. However, it's an option that is open to students from all streams. Like actuarial sciences, it has no particular eligibility criteria, apart from the fact that one needs to love numbers, one needs to be logical. And like the actuarial sciences that I mentioned earlier, chartered accountancy is such a course where one could do it without a degree. So the CA program or the ICAI institute that provides a CA certification is not a degree course. It's usually something that students take up alongside courses like BCom because there's a similarity in the syllabus and because some of the core areas that are addressed in the BCom program are the same ones that are addressed in the CA program as well. However, few of the challenges are that less than 8% of the CAs clear in the first shot. On average, most CAs take almost 5 years to complete the course. So if a student truly loves accountancy and numbers, CA could be one of those options. Let's look at the career portal to understand these options a little better.
We're now going to discuss chartered accountancy. And while chartered accountancy is a career that is open to students from all streams, so which means students can study any scheme of subjects in 11th and 12th, or they could pursue a 2 or 3 year diploma course right after the 10th, join the first year of a graduation course. Now, typically, a graduation course that most chartered accountants pursue is BCom honors, given that BCom and CA programs have similar course material. So, which is why it's a popular choice. Now, while chartered accountants need to be good with numbers, there is no subject eligibility per se. So, in the first year of a graduation course, a student can join the CA foundation course. Now, let me explain that CA is not a degree, it's a certification course on its own. So, upon completion, a student does not receive a degree equivalent, but receives a certificate from the Institute of Chartered Accountants India, which is the only authorizing body for chartered accountants. So, upon joining the CA foundation course, the student has to pass the CA foundation examination and join the CA intermediate course, which is ICITSS. Now, between the CA foundation course and the CA foundation exam, there is 8 months of time that is given. After joining the intermediate course, they have to clear the exams and pass in the first group of papers and then join articleship, which is a mandatory 3-year training program. After they clear all groups of the CA intermediate program, they join the CA final course, and upon completion of the articleship training and AIC ITSS, the student passes the CA final examination and is now a certified chartered accountant. Now, all the pathways are mentioned here in detail. While the pathway is similar, one can complete a graduation in commerce with minimum of 55% marks and directly join the CA intermediate course. However, keeping credence of the time, students typically join the CA program in the first year of the BCom degree itself. Now, there are BCom degrees which are called executive or professional BCom programs, where the course timing is designed in such a way where students can pursue the articleship during the day. So, either the BCom program is very early in the morning in many colleges, like St. Xavier's in Calcutta and Mumbai. They have evening BCom programs as well to be able to allow students to pursue the chartered accountancy program together. There are certain colleges that do not allow another certificate program like CA to be taken along, and one has to take due permission to be able to pursue them. Now, while there is no subject eligibility per se, it is recommended that students take on Commerce plus Mathematics in 11th and 12th to be better prepared for a course like this. So they have enough time to understand whether they really like accountancy and numbers or not, and thereby make their choice. But what do CAs really do? They can help audit and certify financial accounts of companies. They can help calculate taxation, and they also work in the finance departments of various organizations. While the course fees for the CA program is nominal and it is listed on the ICAI website, the future prospects for chartered accountants have always been great. The number of opportunities keep increasing based on the organizations that need their support and help. And of course, the types of entry level roles could range from tax accountant, bookkeeper, controller, auditor, budget analyst, credit analyst, financial analyst, to name a few. The specialization areas are also detailed out here. The students can read through them at their own perusal. And the kind of job opportunities, the job profile. We'll go into the competencies required in a little more detail now. One has to be conventional and enterprising. Conventional because a lot of accounting rules are set in stone, and the best way that someone is successful in these systems is to understand the existing principles in accountancy very well. And apart from that, the level of knowledge typically is focused on accounting and finance. Skills and personality areas are also mentioned here, and the work activities are also mentioned here in detail. Now, it is very, very important that students understand these elements so that they can take a better call on how to plan their careers better. It is very important that students understand these areas so that they can take a more informed call on whether they want to pursue chartered accountancy. Along with this, it's a good idea for them to also speak to chartered accountants before making this decision. Now, in class 10, students also get to choose between subjects like commerce, accountancy, business studies, mathematics, other areas of sciences and humanities as well. Now, accountancy tends to be a very new subject and has not been touched in most boards till class 10. So, it's important that students go through the CBSE syllabus, speak to subject teachers to understand these choices better. For 11th and 12th students who have taken accountancy and related subjects, they have a good idea of what the subject is like and what they will be ending up studying in graduation if they are to choose a course like commerce or BCom honors. Now, for BCom honors in most parts of the country, the eligibility criteria is usually having maths in 11th and 12th. Some universities might require students to also have accountancy, but that's very rare. One can also pursue a BCom pass program. And like I mentioned earlier, upon completion of a commerce degree, a student can completely skip the foundation course and directly jump into the intermediate course.
Moving on to another career that requires students to really love mathematics and understand commerce as well, we are looking at investment banking. Now, technically, this is a specialization option that comes in as a subset of finance after one pursues the MBA. But I'd like to talk about it here because one of the core elements that are required here is a love for numbers itself. What do investment bankers really do? Now, they don't work in banks particularly, but they are individuals who help figure out who could be your best investors if you're looking to expand your business. Now, there are a lot of individuals who own businesses who like to understand who are the best investors for them. Now, an investment banker helps an investor and a business looking for an investment come onto the same platform and connect with each other. Now, this is why this is one of the few areas within management that requires a thorough understanding of mathematics, because in all of these elements, you will have to figure out how numbers play an important role in these type of processes. Let's move on to another career that one would do really well if they have a good hold on numbers. Stockbroking. It's not a career that requires a degree program. However, for one to understand day-to-day trading in the stock market, one needs to have a good grasp on numbers itself. Now let's move on to one of the last careers on this page, economics. It's one of those spaces that we as Indians have left a very large mark all over the world with our fantastic research. Now, economics is one such area that helps us understand markets. With the help of economics, we are able to create policies that make sense to all our citizens, understand which parts of a country require financial support, and thereby help in better policy making that enables proper nation building. Economics is one of those few subjects where one would see an eligibility criteria for mathematics in 11th and 12th. What I mean to say is, in most parts of India, if you want to apply for a BA or a BSc in economics, math becomes an eligibility criteria if you have to apply for such a course. So a student who had math in 11th and 12th is more likely to have much more options available in this space. Let's look at the career portal to understand this a little better.
Next career under commerce with numbers is investment banking. Now, under investment banking, you would see investment banker, bank clerk, bank correspondent, other forms of careers that are closer to banking and finance. We'll go into investment banking. Now, we're covering multiple areas here together because they're very closely interrelated. If you look at investment banking, which is under finance and banking itself, you'd see other areas like financial planner, stockbroker, even banker. And these are quite closely interrelated because of the kind of core subjects that are required to pursue this space. One can go in from any scheme of studies. However, it is preferable that a student takes mathematics in 11th and 12th to have more options open. One could also go in from the CA route or through the CFA program, which is a Chartered Financial Analyst. Or one could do a graduation in any scheme of subjects with numbers and then pursue an MBA as well. So whether you're a sales manager in an investment banking service, typically investment bankers, like we mentioned earlier, help organizations understand the different types of investors that they could be involved with so that they can build their capital. So investment bankers help connect investors and organizations that need investment. So whether you're a manager working in an investment banking service or an investment advisor or an asset manager or a portfolio manager, you're dealing with equities and securities. Or even if you're a financial analyst, you will notice that there is a common thread to all of these areas. So the student can read these areas in more detail. Now, other areas are like stockbroking, securities trader, and so on. Now, a stockbroker basically is a registered professional who specializes in financial advice for companies or individuals and try to understand what are the best ways to increase income basis the types of stocks individuals want to invest in. Now, whether you're a financial analyst or an equity analyst or a securities trader, a few of the pathways are mentioned here already. One could either go for a BSc certification course in securities management or BBA, or even do a diploma program in securities market after the complete bachelor's in business administration or a bachelor's in commerce, or do the CA program as well. Now, moving on to the kind of job opportunities, that's what we were discussing earlier. One could become a risk modeling manager, an assistant portfolio manager, an analyst or a management trainee, an assistant manager for sales. These are different areas that one could work with. The competencies required would be enterprising, where you should be a good persuader, conventional, work with existing systems and follow processes. Apart from that, there are other types of skill sets that are required, involving a good knowledge of accounting, economics, mathematics, and numbers, kind of comprehension that is required as well, and the kind of work activities that individuals will have to prepare themselves for.